Hello everyone, this is Maureen and welcome to my crochet story, where I share with you two things that I love, teaching and crochet. Today it is all about the mosaic blanket, the SHOLACK, that I'm working on. And so for the next several weeks, I'm going to be showing you my progress and my journey. I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks, and I'm going to kind of give you my opinion of my blanket as I'm working along it. But before we get started, let me say thank you so much for you being here. I really appreciate your time. I would also appreciate your thumbprint and hitting the like button, and share this out with your friends and let them see the journey that I am on, especially on this SHOLACK blanket, so that maybe if they've ever looked at mosaic, or if they've even looked at this pattern in particular, they can see how it's worked up, get somebody's opinions, learn some tricks, and maybe pick up the project and work it up for themselves. Now, if you're new to my channel, let me say thank you for being here, and take a few minutes, go look to see what else is on my channel, and if there's something that you like, consider hitting that subscribe button, and be sure to look for the bell that has the little hugs on the side that lets you know every time I put content up. So, my SHOLACK blanket. Now, for those of you that may not know what the SHOLACK is, it is a mosaic, and it is my very first mosaic project. Now, we are doing this crochet along with Michelle's Mosaics and More. She has been gracious to work with those of us that have never done mosaic before, and I'm one of them. Now, I said in my last video that I really could kick myself for not picking this up sooner. I didn't realize that mosaic, I'm not going to say it was easy, but if you start out with an easy pattern and you have somebody, you know, looking over your shoulder to help you work through the process, you know, I just don't know why I put it off for so long to learn it. So anyway, this is the SHOLACK pattern, and this is what my blanket should look like by the time I get finished. Isn't that pretty? Now, this one is done in an off-white with a prism combination, I believe. That's what it looks like considering what I chose. But I will leave a link to the kit that this came in. Now, you can buy the pattern and, you know, pick out your own yarn, but I was gifted the SHOLACK kit from Carry the Yarny Elephant for my birthday, and so, you know, I wasn't out any money. But it only takes about 2,000 to 2,100 yards per color, and you only need 2 colors. Just make sure that whatever it is you pick out, the colors are very contrasting, because you want the trees or the design that's on there to really pop against a different type background. Alright? So, before we get started, one of the things I am going to mention is, just in getting started, you're going to want to put a stitch marker on the front side until it kind of gets a little known what's definitely the front, what's definitely the back. Now, on the front side, you'll see your design starting, and on the back side, you're just going to have these colored ridges. Alright? Now, this is not an interlocking pattern where, you know, you have pattern on one side and it's reverse on the other. This is just a design in which the pattern's on the front, and then, like I said, you have a very definite back. So that's what I did, and in fact, you know what, I probably could go ahead and remove this stitch marker. I don't need it sitting there anymore. Excuse me. Now, the color choices that I chose is what's called a cottonwood. Now, this one is a 4-weight, and it is a 4-weight acrylic. And then the color choice that came with it is called the Sunset. It is a MARY Maxim prism. Now this is a 3-weight, and I didn't even think about, you know, the differences. I mean, I just really didn't look at it. In working with the 2 different weights, you know, alternating row to row. The only problem that I have found so far that is a struggle for me, and I only say that in that I have to keep adjusting my tension between the 2 different weights. I also had to, the pattern calls for using an H hook, and I could not get the swatch gauge that they recommended, so I had to go up. And in going up, it has changed the, what do I want to call it? The tension of the 3-weight. So my 4-weight is, you know, I've had to loosen its gauge a little bit, and tension, and I've had to tighten down a little bit on the 3-weight so that I can keep a consistent tension throughout the whole blanket. But enough of that. That's just me. Many of you that have been crocheting, you know, a long time, which I have, but I think I've mentioned to you in the past, I am a tight crocheter, so in trying to find a happy medium between these 2 weights to work up this pattern has been a challenge for me. So those of you that are newbies, and what I mean by a newbie, a beginner crocheter, and you want to go ahead and learn how to do a mosaic, please don't let me discourage you from that. I mean, I would highly recommend that as soon as you're comfortable with chaining, single crochets, double crochets, go ahead and start. Even if you need to start with a small piece, go ahead and start learning the mosaic, because even the simplest designs, that's all you need to know. And patience. Okay? Alright, so I think I noticed in the very beginning that I saw, for me, I had to use stitch markers for every so many 24 stitches, because that's where the repeat pattern is. And I tell you what, guys, this calls for 196 or 196 chains, and then you go back with a single crochet row. So once you get past your little setup rows, makes it a lot easier if you use those stitch markers and count off every 24 stitch section, so that if you make a mistake, you only have 24 stitches to rip out and not the whole row. Alright, so enough chitter chatter. Let me show you where I am at on my Sholak so far. So that's what I have. You can see my trees are really getting defined. And there's my little stitch markers up there for the next row that I'll be doing. Now, my only complaint with the color combination that I chose is, let me pick on this. Kind of hard to figure out which direction. Alright, so here is my tree. Let me figure out which way to move the fingers. There we go. Alright, so here is my tree. Okay, now as you can see, oh, I keep going the wrong direction. Alright, as you can see in this tree, it looks like I have a lot of cottonwood color going through here, and I don't. And if you look at this tree here, there we go, it looks like, again, I have, guys, bear with me, I'm so sorry, a lot of cottonwood color going. Oh well, you can see where the cottonwood color is. And let's go to the next tree. I'm really messing this up, aren't I? Guess I should have played with this before I got up here. But what I want you to see is that there's a lot of space up there, about 2 or 3 rows down, and which it looks like I have more cottonwood color than the actual prism color itself. Well, that is not the case, because in this brand new skein here, you can see that a lot of that cotton, there is a section right in through there in which it kind of gets lost with the background color. Now, that is the only thing at the moment that's upsetting me about the blanket overall. And it's, I mean, I shouldn't use the word upsetting. Just a little, oh man, you know. But I'm thinking that overall, maybe once the tree pattern gets finished and I move on to the next section of the pattern here, go back to it. You know, once we get to playing with more of the design there, it won't matter quite so much. But all I can do is wait and see. I am now 20 rows in out of 30 for pattern number 1. And what I've decided to do is, and you're going to see my little markings here on the side, what I've decided to do is I'm going to not limit myself, but tell myself that I need to work on a minimum of 10 rows a week, because I have discovered with myself that once I get started on one project, I fall back in the old habit of just working on it continuously and not keeping with my schedule of other projects that I want to show you that I'm working on and give you my takes and likes and dislikes, you know, throughout the week. So I'm going to try to break that habit, but you know, it just takes time and patience, which Maureen does not have. So that's all I have. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention to you that I didn't realize until I started, you know, getting this far along into the SHOLACK, and I don't know if you can see it that well here. I'm going to try to turn it just a little bit. Do you see what the cottonwood is doing here, this 4-weight, and then it falls over here into the 3-weight section? Can you see that here? Look at that. Not only does the single crochet and double crochet push, you know, they're offset like this because one is worked in the front loop and one is worked in the back loop, but I have to say that working with the 4-weight for the background and the 3-weight for the design, it's giving it a lot of texture and dimension. That's, like I said, I was not prepared for that. Maybe you can see it better this way. Can you see that? See, like here's the 4-weight, there's the 3-weight, there's the 4-weight. And this is not because of the fact that, you know, you're using front loops and back loops in the design itself. It also has to do with the fact that I'm working with a 4-weight and 3-weight. So that is something that I'm sure I'm really going to enjoy once I get further along and see more of the pattern. It's just that dimensional effect of working between the 2 weights. So that is a plus. The negative at the moment for Maureen is just trying to keep her tensions consistent so that I don't have very airy or lacy looks, you know, with the 3-weight up against the more structured stitching or tension with the 4-weight. But, you know, practice makes perfect, or at least practice makes it better. So that's all I have for you this week. Tomorrow I'll be sharing with you my progress on my Sophie, because I am picking her back up. I hope to be able to finish excuse me, part 6 of Sophie. I only have like 3 or 4 rows, I believe, so I'll be sharing with you what she's looking like before I start part 7. As always, folks, be the light out there in the darkness for someone today, because you never know, could be your light that they need to see. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. I really do appreciate your support. Love you. Bye.